Let me close by saying this. We choose moving forward, not backward. We choose hope over hate, unity over division, freedom over fascism. As Harry Truman said, I never did give them hell, I just told them the truth and they thought it was hell. Let's raise some hell and let's make some good trouble and let's win in November. Thank you, Story County Democrats. And now, Mike Wolfe.
Thank you so much, Pam and Senator Kernbach and everybody who came here. I am really humbled to see this many people here to see me talk. It's probably a first, and I really appreciate your time and effort getting here. As Pam touched on earlier at the start of her speech, I met with her last November, and I told her I am ready for change. And I went through and told a story about how I had met with Representative Dave Dio and really hadn't had very much to said back to me about him. Later on, I did try and speak with him again. I called him on the phone while I was at work because, you know, day jobs. And I was back in the break room at my construction company that I work at. And I was trying to be persuadable. I was doing my best to, you know, use good reasoned arguments. And the things that he just kept saying back, you know, I'm stacking up my construction language in the back of my head and just doing my best to be just kind and courteous. And I think when he said the word social contagion, I was like, So we finished the conversation. I was positive I got nowhere, but I hung up the phone, and again, in the break room at my construction office, and the words that I've been stacking up, they all came out. And the reason I keep emphasizing that it was at a construction office is they sent the safety guy to come check on me. So you can, I think, recognize the level of frustration that came out. So, you know, I am ready for change. And there's a lot of things in Iowa that need changing right now. And the good news is that Iowans beyond this room are also ready. I was door knocking in Kelly the other day with Senator Kernbach, and the lists that we're using are persuadables. So they're not necessarily only registered Democrats. It's if somebody would reasonably listen to who I am and who I'm running for and not slam the door on me or get mad that I interrupted their day, those are the people we're gonna go talk to. And as we're walking through one of the neighborhoods, there was a group of gentlemen that was decidedly not on my list that were looking really busy going back and forth between a couple of houses setting up a barbecue. It's like, they look busy, they're not on my list. So I just kept going. But Iowa mailboxes and house signs are not good. So as I'm flipping through my clipboard, trying to figure out where am I, one of the guys is like, what are you doing? You know, small town Iowa. He's taking care of his neighbors. Like, well, I'm trying to run for office. He says, well, you didn't talk to us. Well, so I went and talked to him. And he started off with, you know, my name's Mike Wolfe. I'm running for Iowa Senate. He's like, well, what do you think of Trump? I was like, well, you know, he's not really my guy. He's like, whoa! He was ready to be done talking to me. Absolutely ready to be done. But it's like, you know, I'm not here to talk to you about Donald Trump. I'm here to talk to you about what I stand for. And what I stand for is rebuilding Iowa's public school system. Because right now our private vouchers are taking money out of rural schools, like the Ballard school system that your kids would go to here in Kelly. And suddenly that man was ready to listen. He was ready to listen. Because they know that when you start taking apart your rural schools, you start taking apart your rural towns. And that's going to be the end of places like Kelly. And I tell you, after that conversation that we had with that man, I left that night with his yard, with my yard sign in his yard. There's another one of the issues that Iowa is really ready for change on, and that's the taking apart AEA system, the area education system. As Pam said, that's really dear to a lot of people in Iowa. You know, when that was really getting a lot of attention was still early in the session, when I was still gathering signatures to get ballot access. And I attended a forum in Marshalltown where Senator Jeff Edler did actually show up to talk to his constituents. It may have been one of the only times. But as he sat there repeating the Republican talking points and completely ignoring the very impassioned pleas of all the parents that showed up to ask him not to, he just lost the room. No one there was ready to back him or his position, but it didn't matter to that man. And it was clear to everyone there. So after the end of that, and when he had gone, I stayed around to try and gather some signatures for my ballot access from like-minded people. And one of the gals had heard me talking. She wasn't really engaged with me, but she could tell what I was talking about and my support for the AEAs and opposition against what Senator Edler was saying. And she came up to me and said, "Can I still sign your petition if I'm a Republican?" I was like, "Well, absolutely you can." It's not a promise that you're going to vote for me, but let's talk about it this way. Which one of us, Senator Edler or I, is going to support you and your family? And I had a voter right there. And, you know, I think my job has gotten a little bit easier that Senator Edler, the incumbent, is not running. But I would not have a hard time running against his record on the AEAs. One of the other issues that people are angry about, really ready for change on, is the eminent domain issue. I mean, for years there's been trucks on the side of Interstate 35, stop eminent domain abuse. And what did we do this last couple of sessions? Anything but that. People are angry. My friend Ryan Condon, running for House 51, one of his opponents for that seat has decided that Ryan is the person to back now instead of the guy who won the primary, because Ryan is on the right side of eminent domain abuse. It takes a lot to convince somebody who thought they were going to be a Republican candidate for the Iowa House to decide to back a Democrat publicly. So it's a good thing for Ryan to be on the right side of this issue. It's a better thing for people to be ready to hear our united opposition against taking private ground for profit for somebody else. And again, I mentioned a little bit earlier that all of this has me ready for change. And I'd spoken with my elected officials, and for all that they cared about, I was just another guy on the side of the road holding the sign up, just driving by. They don't have to stop and listen to what I have to say. But what nights like tonight really emphasized to me is the difference between a guy, you know, holding the sign on the side of the road and somebody holding the banner, leading the charge, is all of you people who came here to see what I had to say, and all of you people who came to donate and showed that you believe in me and are ready to back me in this race to get to the State House and make those changes. So thank you for your support. So I am here asking for your support. I am here asking to help you, or for you to help me make this change. We are all ready for it. And the way we get that done is we're just going to go talk to more people. You all know more people than I do, I'm sure about that. Just tell some of your friends, you know, I met this guy. He's got some things to say. He's got some ideas about putting Iowa back on the right path. We're going to put us on a path where we're building our future instead of taking apart our institutions. We're going to invest in our children's education instead of putting money in a crony's pocket. We're here to build Iowa again. And I hope this is just one step on that whole path. And I really thank you all for coming out and helping me on my way.